All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
In the heart of the night, where the shadows play, on the X Zone we gather, come what may, with Rob McConnell guiding us through the dark, searching for truth hidden, igniting the spark. Whispers of spirits, both gentle and bold, tales of the ancients in the stories retold, from haunted old houses to the echoing halls, we seek the unknown where mystery calls. On the X-Zone Radio, where the truth finds a way through the stories of ghosts that wander and sway, inviting the seekers, the wise and the brave. Join us each episode, let the curious say, with voices like...
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I'm Rob McConnell. I hope each and every one of you had a safe and enjoyable weekend as summer starts throughout Canada and the United States. Wow, I hope everyone has a very safe summer. And remember, drink responsibly, whether you're driving a car or whether you're on a boat, driving the boat. Remember, impaired driving does apply to watercraft as well. So if you're going to drink, please don't drive or sail. Just enjoy yourselves. Geez, what a great show we've got lined up for you tonight, Exo Nation. And tonight, as I was saying, we enter the shadowed world of corridors of the unexplained with a man who's dedicated years of investigating the paranormal, helping families, and exploring the mysteries that exist just beyond the edge of ordinary understanding. Our guest this hour is Len Novak, founder and director of the Illinois Ghost Society, also known as TIGS. Since 2006, Len and his team have worked in the field of paranormal research and spiritual assistance, investigating reports of hauntings, unexplained activity, ghostly encounters, and the lingering mysteries connected to some of Illinois' most famous and fascinating locations and legends. With a motto that says, "Fear not the darkness, embrace its beauty," Len brings a unique perspective to ghost investigation, one that blends curiosity, compassion, history, and a deep respect for those who reach out for help when they believe something unexplained is happening around them. Tonight, we'll be talking about ghost hunting, haunted locations, spirit communication, private investigation, Chicago area legends, and what years of research have taught him about life, death, and what may exist beyond the veil. Before you join Len, I'd just like to remind everyone that you're listening to us on the CanCom Broadcast Network from our studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, just down the street from AM 1220 CFAJ, who not only broadcast us on AM 1220, but they also stream us at classic1220.ca. And joining me now is paranormal investigator, researcher, and founder of the Illinois Ghost Society, Len Novak. And Len, welcome back to the X Zone. How have you been, my friend?
Oh, thank you. I've been doing pretty good so far. Health-wise, that's so-so, but I'm getting by.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Len. Len, for listeners meeting you for the very first time, how did your journey into the paranormal research begin?
Well, actually, when I was 5 years old, I was actually touched. That was my first encounter. But getting started into the investigation part, that appeared in 2005, where three other friends of mine and I were in a haunted location, a cemetery, and we were going down the trail that leads to this cemetery. It was about 11 o'clock or so, and we encountered two entities. I don't want to go too much into it, but we encountered two entities, a lady and a young child. And we thought it was weird because we didn't see them approach us.
Right.
And we didn't hear them because it was October, late October, and we were walking, we heard the leaves crunching, but when they approached, there was no noise. And they were suddenly in front of us and asked us where the cemetery was. And of course, we just didn't think much of it. Thought it was near Halloween, so they were dressed funny, and we figured they were at a party or something. But when we told them where the cemetery was, they thanked us and walked away. And not a split second after they passed us, we turned, and they were nowhere to be seen. And when they walked past us, we didn't hear nothing on the ground. So my friend and I, well, he's deceased right now, that was with me when I decided to start this. Well, him and I were sitting watching television. We watched a show called, I forgot the name of the show. It was in England. It's a show in England. And we thought, that's interesting. So I suggested we try doing that. And so after that, we went and took some pictures and put up a website. And along about 2006, in fact, June, it'll be 20 years. And we started going out and investigating. We got some equipment, went out and started investigating. And that's how the group was born.
Your motto is "Fear not the darkness, embrace its beauty." What does that phrase mean to you personally?
To me personally, is I'm not afraid of the dark. I embrace it as being peaceful and calm. So that's where that came in from. I just thought it up and put it out.
Yeah, it's a very catchy phrase, and it means a lot and says everything about you and your organization. When people hear the term ghost hunter, Len, they often think of television shows. Now, how real is paranormal investigation different from what people see on TV?
Well, to tell you the truth, I believe most of those shows are just production. They're meant for entertainment, as far as I'm concerned. There's only one that I find actually really credible. And what that seems to be was it helped us get into this more and learn more of how to do this when we go hunting or investigating, as you might say.
Sure.
And the show is Ghost Hunters with Jason Howes and Taps. That's where we got our ideas for.
You said ghost hunting, and I was going to ask you, what kind of gun do you use to kill a ghost with? But since you went into the research part, I just kind of said, nah. But I did say it, didn't I? Okay. What was your very first investigation, and did it change your beliefs?
Well, actually, I did believe in it way before this, a long time before this. But our first investigation, my daughter had lived in Loves Park, Illinois, and that's a suburb of Rockford. And she told me, knowing that I was doing this, she told me about her neighbor who was having problems at her house. And I agreed to go over there and check it out. And that was our first investigation. And it turned out pretty good. In fact, we went back there a week later with a psychic. I brought a psychic in with me. And she told stories about the situation there. And I never told her anything about what was going on there. And she just started saying this and this and this and this and this. And it kind of shocked me because she knew all the things that were going on there, and I never told her.
Is it normal for paranormal investigators like yourself to bring psychics along during the investigation, and what is their function?
Well, it is pretty good. It depends on the person, too.
Mm-hmm.
The girl that was with us, she was, how can I say it, sixth sense, where she could see and talk to these spirits.
So she was also a medium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, psychic medium. So she came over to our house and told us everything that's in our place. We got like I think she said something like 6 spirits in our condo right now. So
and how old is your condo?
The condo was built in 1974.
Okay.
We moved in 1992.
No, why I asked you that was I was trying to understand how there would be six spirits in the location where you live. Any idea who they are, what they want, and why they just don't go to the light?
Well, actually, the main spirit here, she told us, had been here for like over 100 years.
Wow.
And he stands in this one section of the condo by our back door,
Mm-hmm.
and he's always there. And that was the main one that's still here. And the others, I hate to say this, but I think I brought them home with me.
Oh, geez.
Most people
bring home a 6-pack or a kitten they found on the road, but you bring back a ghost.
Yes.
What did your wife say?
Oh, she thinks I'm nuts, of course, because I do this. But she's had encounters here, too, with these spirits. She's seen a dark figure by our dining table,
Mm-hmm.
standing there. And when we first moved in, I had experiences back in 92.
Wow.
When we first moved here.
Uh-huh.
So where some of these people are coming from, other than me possibly bringing them in, I have no idea where they're coming from.
How is it you bring these spirits with you?
Well, and in the beginning, I think, before we started doing closing prayer, before we leave, because normally the best thing to do when you're at a place
Mm-hmm.
is at the end to tell them that they cannot follow you. You have to stay where you're at. You cannot follow any of our team home. We do not want you. And then we leave.
So that was the missing link, the closing prayer.
I think so.
Hey,
I didn't
Len.
pick up on that for a couple of years afterwards.
Hey, Len, you and I have to take a break, so please stand by. Exo Nation, my guest this hour is a gentleman I've had on the show before, a great guy. He's well known and respected as a paranormal investigator. His name is Len Novak. And Len and I will be back on the other side talking about haunted Chicago here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, on the CanCom Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, who stream us on classic1220.ca. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
We seek the unknown where mystery calls. On the X-Zone Radio, where the truth finds a way through the stories of ghosts that wander and sway, inviting the seekers, the wise and the brave. Join us each episode.
Past midnight on Gate Street, the signal hums low. Static's alive and the shadows glow through the glass of the control room door. Something whispers, we've been here before. Old footsteps echo the real sighs. The red on air, light flickers and dies through the hallway. A chill creeps deep. CKTB never sleeps. Ghosts on Gate Street.
Len Novak is my special guest this hour, Explanation. If you'd like to find out more about Len, visit his website at www.ghosthunter001.wixsite.com/TIGSINC. All right, so you bring these ghosts home. How do you get rid of them? Or do they just stay around and become part of your family?
Well, yeah, I would say so. It's been the activity hasn't been too much lately. We had, here and there's stuff, and we're used to it now, and it's like, nothing.
So
I'm not really afraid of any of this.
But how about your wife and the rest of the family? Do they like having the extra guests at the supper table every night?
Well, we don't even think about it anymore.
No,
It's like, it's just, okay. Or if we hear a noise or something move,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it must be one of the ghosts. That,
Do you
we
have
just live with it.
Sure? Do you have pet names for them?
Well, the one we know for sure, his name is Gabriel. That was told to us by our psychic medium. But the other ones, no, we don't have names for them.
Do you approach hauntings from a scientific point of view, a spiritual point of view, or a combination of both?
I would say pretty much a combination of both, because, I am a spiritual person,
Okay.
you might say. And I don't know, I think I meld with them a lot. So maybe that's why I'm not afraid of them, because I'm more into them.
How come there's only certain people who pass who remain, and others, when they pass, they go whoop, right to the light?
Well, my theory, my belief is that any of them that are left behind usually have like unfinished business, or they don't know that they're dead to begin with. That those are the two things that I believe personally are the reasons they stay around. Like, I could say, like my mom for sure. I believe she has gone to the light, and I have not had anything happen with her or anything like that. So I think she was content, and she went to the light to be with the rest of the family.
What kind of evidence do you consider the most compelling in a paranormal investigation?
Actually, a photo or a video of an actual apparition, which if you get onto our website, you'll catch one on there where we took in a school, an abandoned school. We took 2 pictures. I was taking a picture with a regular camera,
Right.
and my associate was taking one with an infrared camera. And he got an apparition of a lady in Victorian garb walking down the stairs, down the end of a hall, and on my picture there was nothing.
Unreal.
That's the most compelling that I've got so far.
I'd like to go back to the 2 apparitions that you saw in the cemetery that we first talked about in the first segment.
Yeah.
What were they wearing, and were they full-bodied apparitions?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that's what was puzzling to us at the time. They were dressed in, I'm not sure, it wasn't Victorian, but it was old clothing, like from another era, like in the 20s or 30s or something like that. And the little girl was dressed with a long dress and everything, just like they did back then. But their hair was fixed up like in the olden days, with the hair pushed up and stuff. And they were as if I was talking to an actual person. That's how it was to us. That's why we weren't scared or we weren't shocked or anything, other than the fact that they were bringing a young girl to the
What about
cemetery at night.
what about the young girl? What was she like?
that was very strange with her. That's what we found weird. Afterwards, we thought about this, and the little girl, you know how little kids, they cling to their parents when there's a stranger there?
Oh, I sure do.
This girl just stood straight up and stared straight ahead. It was creepy. I mean, I'm not scared. It was just creepy the way she was. She didn't move. She didn't say nothing. She didn't grab onto her mother or nothing. She just stood there and stared.
What time of night, day or night was this at, Len?
This was around 11 o'clock at night.
My goodness.
And that's afterwards we thought about it more, and then we thought, why did she bring her at that time of night to a cemetery? And it was like puzzling to us.
How did you see them? I guess 11 o'clock at night is pretty dark, or was there a lighting?
Well, no, the trail that we were on, there's a light at the end of a street light at the end of this trail, because there's a road over there and a street light, and it's shown in where you could see something in front of you if you're walking down this path. And that's where we saw them. That's how we saw them. Because it was real bright and it lit up a lot over there. So,
how do you separate true unexplained activity from environmental factors, imagination, fear, or the power of suggestion, Len?
Well, this was no power of suggestion. We actually saw it.
No, I'm not talking about that specific case. I mean, in general, when you're out there doing an investigation.
Well, I don't know. It's hard to explain that, something like that. We do everything scientifically, of course. We use logic to begin with. And of course, we have our scientific equipment with us.
What kind of scientific equipment do you use?
We're talking like EMF meters, infrared cameras, laser grids.
Oh, wow.
REM pods, spirit boxes, of course.
Right.
Yeah, and we got an SLS camera, too.
Gotcha.
That we use.
What are some of the most common mistakes new paranormal investigators that you bring on investigations make?
Well, most of them, they don't know how to conduct an EVP session. So we have to make sure we teach these people how to do this. And sometimes when they're doing some of the rookies, or if you will, they would do an EVP session. They wouldn't give like time for the spirit to answer. They'll just keep going into questions. So we got to, stop them right there. This is not how you do it. This is the way you do it. We teach them how to do it. And cameras too.
Yeah.
That's another thing that bugs me about some of these newbies. When they get the camera, they're panning it all over the place instead of focusing on a certain area. And when you're panning around, you're not going to catch anything if you should possibly have something in front of you.
How many people do you take with you on an investigation?
Well, usually we try to keep it to our own team. We had 4 people in the group, and we kept it with that. And most of the people that we do work with, I've had a couple newbies, but most of the people we work with are seasoned. They've been at it for many years like we have.
Have you seen a lot of changes over the years when it comes to methods of paranormal investigation?
Well, they keep coming up with new equipment to use and more high-tech stuff, but I believe in using old-school stuff. And they use like now they're using like those microphones that pick up a mile away and stuff like that. And that's not going to do any good. I mean, you can pick up anything a mile away.
Right, yeah.
So those parabolic microphones are not that great, I don't think. I don't believe in them to begin with, especially for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And they got all kind of new things I've seen on some of these shows where I have no idea what this is, So stick with the old school.
Sure, stick with something that you're comfortable with.
Oh,
After
yeah.
all, with all this new technology coming out, to my knowledge, there hasn't been that many investigations where they've actually captured concrete evidence to support their claims.
Yeah.
And yet the old tried and true methods that investigators who've been in this realm for many years, like yourself, seem to get better results.
Yeah, because we use the old stuff. We don't use any of this new high tech stuff. The newest high tech that we got was the SLS camera, and that seems to work pretty good.
If it ain't broken, don't fix it, right?
Right.
You and I have to take a break, so please stand by. Exo Nation, our guest this hour is Len Novak. And if you'd like to find out more about Len and see some of the photos of that he's taken during paranormal investigations, his website is, do you have your pencils and paper ready? Yes, there are a few of you that can use crayons. Very good. www.ghosthunter001.wixsite.com/TIGSINC. I'll repeat that one more time. Make sure you still have your crayon. If you'd like to change colors, go right ahead. Got it? Okay. www.ghosthunter001.wixsite.com/TIGSINC. And with that being said, Len and I will be taking a break at the bottom of the hour, and you're listening to the X-Zone Radio Show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And we're broadcasting to 170 countries around the world. That's a fantastic feat. We could not do it without you, the members of the Exo Nation. And we're also live on air from the studios of your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM. We're on 1220 on the AM dial. And, of course, they stream us at classic1220.ca. I'm Rob McConnell. Len Novak and I return on the other side of this very short break. So whatever you do, my friends, don't go away.
Since 1990, through the dark of the night, one paper kept searching for the truth in the light, where others stayed silent, afraid of what they'd find. The X-Chronicles opened up the paranormal mind, from UFO sightings crossing midnight skies to alien encounters and government lies. Ghosts in the shadows, whispers from the dead, ancient gods and mysteries still left unread. The truth is out there, calling through the night, in the pages of the X-Chronicles, shining bright. From hauntings to disclosure, from science to the strange, exploring worlds and mysteries beyond the human range. The X-Chronicles newspaper, where the unknown comes alive, solving the mysteries of our world, one edition at a time.
Welcome back, everyone. And the June edition of the X-Chronicles newspaper will be released on June the 15th. And if you'd like to get a copy of the newspaper, all you need to do is go to www.xchronicles.net. That's XCHRONICLES.net. And you can either get the online digital version or the print copy. Len Novak is my guest this hour. We're talking about ghost hauntings and things that go bump in the night. And if you'd like to find out more about Len, his website is ghosthunter001.wixsite.com/TIGSINC. I understand that you've just completed two recent investigations, Len, and I was wondering if you could share them with us.
Yes, this was, I believe, last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Actually, we did three last year. We did a place in down north side of Chicago. It was called I don't know if I could mention the name on the air.
If you'd like.
But, okay. It was called the Quandary Escape Room.
Oh.
Now, why it's called that, I have no idea. But we got a couple good things in there. It was kind of interesting. We got, I was doing a session in a storage room area, which was also a stage. And I had a piece of equipment with me, and I was asking questions as to who was there and everything. Is anybody here with me?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that, just general questions. And I said that if you want to answer, just use that box that I got sitting on the table. It was a music box, and it's a sensor. When entity gets near it, it plays a haunting song. And I was sitting at the other end of the table, and so there's no possible way I could have moved or caused a shadow to make it go off. So I'm sitting there, I'm asking a question, is anybody here? And the thing went off. And I started asking more questions, and I asked if that person was one of the persons that claimed to have been a spirit in there. And I asked if that was her, and it went off again. So I got that in there. And in another area, there was another room
Mm-hmm.
where by a hallway, where my partner was coming out of this hallway out of the room into the hallway, and he seen a figure walk past him, and he thought it was me. He called and asked if it was me. And I was in a different room, farther on the other end of the building. So there's no possible way it could have been me. And then we had a few things going where certain lights would go on, and we had a REM pod with us, and every time we asked a question, it would go off. So we determined that place was active. I won't say haunted, I'll just say active. And apparently they hear dogs in there. That was one of the responses that we got from them. And sure enough, at one point we heard some dogs inside the building, and there was no dogs in there.
Now,
was one.
Was this building abandoned, or was it still in use?
Oh, it was in use. Yeah, they
wow.
they were using it. It was one of those venues where you go in, you pay a certain fee, and then you get to somehow escape from it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how they do that because I didn't see no locks on any doors or anything. So I don't know how they do it. But
okay.
It was an interesting night. And the other one that we did, it was called the Gatsby Speakeasy. And it was an old-fashioned setup. It was a bar and restaurant, you might say. And they had an actual working door that they used back in the 20s with the slide open window to see who's there.
Right.
Where you had to give them a password, and then they would let you in.
A speakeasy.
They actually had that there. Yeah. We didn't get too much there. We got a questionable picture, and our REM pod kept going off, and we were getting sounds. We heard sounds, but we couldn't figure out where they were coming from. It wasn't too much, but we got a couple things, and we thought it was pretty decent. We would have liked to stay there longer and do a longer version, but it worked out pretty good. We were satisfied with what we got. And
How long do your investigations last?
Well, it varies depending on the location. We go to some places, it's like maybe 3 or 4 hours we're there. And sometimes it's overnight. We go from like early evening to next morning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, those are in some of the bigger places. Like place like that though is an establishment, and they don't want people overnight while nobody's there.
Certainly.
Because there's booze there and all that stuff, or they might have things in there that they don't want nobody touching. So
Well, sure. And then there is the risk that somebody may injure themselves during the night in the dark, and so on. So I can understand that. Now you were going to tell us about a third one, I believe.
Yes, we went. Well, me and another guy from the group, we went to the 1861 Masonic Hall.
Wow.
It's in a place called Keithsburg, Illinois. And that place is on the Mississippi River. And it's you walk a block and there's the river. So that explains a lot of things too with moving water. We had a very interesting evening there. We had seen an apparition. We seen a shadow figure, and we heard on our voice recorders we picked up some sounds and voices, and we found two names that they didn't know about, and they checked into it and found out that these two people were actually there at one point in another, and we gave them the name. One name was Tom, the man, and then the woman that they see there, we heard her. Her name was Nancy. So we proved that. And at one point, my partner and I went down into the basement, which was reported to be very, very haunted. And what we did down there is what's called an Estes experiment.
Oh, what is that? Explain it to our listeners.
Okay. What that is you go into a spot where you put on noise-canceling headphones. You have a spirit box that's running that only you could hear what's coming out of it. And you're blindfolded, so you're experiencing sensory deprivation. And the other person goes into another area or another room and asks questions to make sure that you can't hear anything that he's saying, which you can't really with the spirit box going because it makes the white noise. And we were doing that session. He was asking questions, and I was repeating what was said on the spirit box. And many cases, it was like, I'm so and so, and you don't belong here. And at one point, I got a voice, a deep growl in a voice. It said, "Get out." And I felt this ice cold brush against my shoulder. And my partner also felt a cold brush against him. So we ended that session very quickly, and we went back upstairs. And that was basically what we caught over there.
Wow, that was
We
a
were
busy.
there
That was a
overnight.
busy night.
Oh yeah. I've gotten a lot of good things. I'm telling you, I've seen a lot in my lifetime.
Has there been a case that you and your team have gone on, or you alone, where you've come across something where the hair on the back of your neck has just stood up?
That's a good one. Because I really don't get scared that much, but I do. Yes, I do. I did have one at one point. Okay, we were at abandoned school in, what is it? I believe it was Mitchell, Iowa.
Okay.
Something like that. Mitchell, Iowa, I think it was. It was an abandoned school. And there's many entities that they say were there, children, and, they claim that there's one dark entity called the principal, I guess the principal of the school. And he is most feared by most people that go in there. Well, anyway, me and another guy were down in the boiler room in the basement, which it wasn't that scary down there. It was just a typical boiler room, And we were down there asking questions, and I had a full spectrum camera with me.
You know what? We're gonna have a cliffhanger here because I've just run into my hard break. And
Okay.
when we come back for the final segment of this hour with my good friend Len Novak, we're going to finish this story. And maybe Len can tell us about a few of the better-known ghosts in the Chicago area.
I got a good one.
All righty, Len. Stand by. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. You're listening to us on the CanCom Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, right here in St. Catharines, who broadcast us on AM 1220 on the radio dial and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220.ca. Don't go away. We'll be back.
From UFO sightings crossing midnight skies to alien encounters and ghosts.
Late night signals whisper through the sky, stories of the unknown drifting by, from shadows deep to stars above. The truth and mystery of what we dream of, from a humble start on AM air, a voice in the night reaching everywhere. St. Catherine's heard that distant tone, Rob McConnell's voice, the X-Zone. Through the years, through the miles, through the questions and the trials. Now we're back on 12:20 a.m. Classic sound, it begins again. CFAJ, your hometown radio, where the truth and the strange still flow. From Ontario skies to the great unknown, with Rob McConnell on the X-Zone.
And Len Novak is my guest this hour, X-Zone Nation. And if you'd like to find out more about our guest this hour, see some of the photos that he's been talking about. And if you'd like to contact Len, if you have any questions, I'm sure he or a member of his team would be more than happy to give you an answer if they can. The website is, all right, you ready? Crayons in hand, magic markers. www.ghosthunter001.wixsite.com/TIGSINC. That's one more time at www.ghosthunter001.wixsite.com/TIGSINC. First of all, before we get going, Len, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and taking time out of your evening to be with us. This is great. So continue. We had the cliffhanger going on before we went to that break.
Yeah. As I was saying, we were in this boiler room.
Yep.
I had a full spectrum camera with me. And we were filming the area where they got all the pipes and the tanks and whatever else they got in there. And my camera started fluttering where there would be lines going through it. And it went to the point where I had just plain static on there. And at that point, I heard a voice, and so did my partner. He heard a voice saying, you better leave now while you have a chance. And I'll tell you, I'd never leave anywhere on an investigation. Never. But I had to leave that time, and I never went back into that boiler room again.
Unreal.
Yeah. That was the only time. That's the only time you'll catch me leaving someplace.
So would you say that was your scariest?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That felt very threatening.
How haunted is Chicago?
Chicago is known, I guess, far and wide as being the most haunted city around. There are different places. There's so many around here, it's unbelievable. Let's see, you got the Hull House that's over there, and you got places on the north side. There's a theater that's supposedly, well, the theater itself isn't haunted. It's the alley behind it is very active. And my big passion that I've been going after for the longest time now, I'm obsessed with it. The person is called Resurrection Mary.
Ooh, please tell.
Yeah, we have a cemetery in Justice, Illinois, which isn't too far from where I live. And it's called Resurrection Cemetery. And the story goes, it's an urban legend, but I believe it's a fact because of personal interviews with people that have actually encountered this person. Well, to make a long story short, it's a young lady that was at the O. Henry Ballroom in a town called Willowbrook, which was down the street. And she got into an argument with a boyfriend and left the ballroom and started walking down the road, Archer Road, which is what the street is that's over there. And apparently they say she got hit by a car and she was left there to die because it was hit and run. And the legend goes she was buried in Resurrection Cemetery, of course. And everybody so far has seen her on the road. Some people have actually picked her up. And there's documented reports of people that did pick her up. But she's still a mystery to everybody. Now, I personally believe that there is another person in this story that is kind of overlooked, but lately is gaining some momentum here. All right. They report the girl as being blonde-haired and having a white dancing dress on and dancing shoes. Well, the main character that they say was Resurrection Mary died in Chicago on what's called Lake Street and State Street, in that area, and it was not on Archer Road. So that's the main story, but that has lost track over the years because she was dark-haired and she was wearing a purple dress when she was buried, not a white dancing dress. So that she's been kind of pushed off and more focused on this newer one. This new girl is a young girl. She died coming home from the O. Henry Ballroom. She died on what's known as Harlem Avenue. And she was 12 years old going on 13. But looking at her picture, too bad there's no way I could show it. I think it's on our website, but you would look at her and you could swear she was older than 12 years old. And she's gotten the momentum so far because she was temporarily buried in Resurrection Cemetery. And it's too coincidental that she would fit the description more than any of the other ones that they claim. And I had talked to a person that actually encountered this Resurrection Mary on Archer Road by the cemetery. She's been seen inside the cemetery trying to get out, and people have picked her up and driven past the cemetery. And when they get by the cemetery, she disappears from the car.
Oh, my gosh.
While the car's moving, she disappears right by the cemetery. So I've been following this, and it's I don't know, it's my passion.
Well, it's also very interesting, the difference of the descriptions, and then you've got the accounts of witnesses who've actually seen her and other witnesses who have actually given her a ride. And as they go by the cemetery, she disappears. Fascinating story. But I would imagine with the history of criminality that Chicago has, with the Valentine's Day massacre and so on, that area of town must be haunted. Has anybody seen any of the gangsters who were gunned down?
Many claim to have seen them. I personally have not. I've been to the site already. I've been to the site where John Dillinger was killed by the Biograph Theater, and I didn't see nothing there. So people say they see him running through the alley, but I haven't. And the funny part was, we were on one of those ghost tours that they have here in Chicago, and we parked right by the alleyway where Dillinger was killed, and the host was telling us that it was so haunted that nobody ever walks through that alleyway at nighttime, and he no longer said that. And here comes this African-American man come walking out of there and walking down the street. And we just busted out laughing.
I
so
guess
funny.
You would. What advice do you have as a seasoned investigator for somebody who is listening to the show tonight and you've piqued their interest, their curiosity, and they're sitting at home or in their car or wherever listening and saying, I want to try that. What advice would you have for them?
Okay, the first thing, the main thing that I insist on in my group is safety. You never go on a hunt by yourself. You always have to have somebody with you. For many reasons, of course. You want verification of something if you should catch it. And this way, you got two people that say, well, we both heard it. And also, if you're in an old building or something that's really dilapidated and haunted, and you get injured, who's going to find you for who knows how long? You could get injured very easily. Never go alone. And always have a flashlight with you. Never go without a flashlight. Because there might be something on the floor or on a staircase that you might trip over. So make sure you have a flashlight with you.
Plus, also bring your cell phone, and above all, always make sure that you're not trespassing, that you have permission to be in the location.
Yep.
Yeah. So what have you got planned for the next little while? Where are you planning to take your group to do investigations next?
Well, right now I want to continue my investigation with Resurrection Mary. I got an idea of going to the gravesite of this young girl that was reportedly the one that they most often talk about, the blonde-haired girl. And we have coming up, hopefully in August, we're looking at a place in Indiana called Whispers Estates. It is a very haunted building, they claim, and that's going to be our next stop.
The time has come, my friend, when you and I must say so long for tonight. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and continued success in your investigations, and I hope that I have the pleasure of speaking to you again. Let us know what you find out in your next investigation. We'll have to get you back on to share your findings with our X-Zone Nation.
Okay.
Len, take care of yourself, and let our listeners know how they can find you again.
Okay. You want the website?
Yeah.
Okay. The website, of course, you can use www, but I would leave that off. Just use ghosthunter001 wixsite.com/TIGSINC.
And
you might
there,
have better luck with that.
and there you have it. Len, take care of yourself.
All right, thank
Exonation.
you. You too.
I'll be back on the other side of this break as the hour continues. Well, it's going to be the second hour, but I like to think that the show is an entire hour. It goes so fast.
Yeah.
This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. You're listening to us on the CanCom Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, streaming us at classic1220.ca. We'll be back on the other side of the news. Don't go away.
A voice in the night reaching everywhere. St. Catherine's heard that distant tone. Rob McConnell.